Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Raven Report, the official podcast of Sci-Tech High School. I'm your host, Colin Kerouac, and today we have a special guest joining us, our very own Coach A.
I love it. Welcome, welcome. Nice to see you, Colin.
Thanks for being here. All right, let's start with some basics about you. Tell us a little about yourself. Where are you from, and what got you into coaching?
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm from Houston, Texas. Like I said, if you guys don't know me, I'm Coach A. I'm the athletics coach here at Wayside High School. I grew up in Houston. I was from a military home, and I kind of moved around a lot. So I've been to Florida, California, but mainly around Houston. Getting into coaching, it was just a turn of a spin of events I had. I had a really bad first year of running college, my first year of college. And after that terrible coaching experience, I came out and said, hey, maybe I can do better and help a little bit more kids.
Tell us, what sport were you doing?
I was mainly a basketball player when I was in high school. I actually didn't really like track and cross country until about my junior year. Once I got to college, I ended up getting a scholarship to Talladega College. I ran there and became a GCAC champion.
And now after disliking cross country and track, you're now primarily a cross country and track.
Yes, it kind of displays out perfectly.
So you initially started out at the middle school before being promoted technically up to here.
Right.
How does coaching younger students compare to working with high school athletes like me?
Okay. I can say it's a little bit different of a pace. Over at the middle school, I was the NCL of education. So I did the lesson plan for 6th through 8th graders. It was more of a classroom and duty kind of job, more of hallway watching, a lot more drama, he said, she said kind of things. But obviously, I look forward to coming to practice, seeing the high school students just because it was a less of that drama and more of just a casual conversation.
Right. I mean, less of that drama, but it's still there. We're older, but we're still kids.
Hey, it's high school. I get it. Don't worry.
Now that you're here, what has been the biggest change for you?
I can say my comfort level, I would say. Coming into here, especially as a Black male, it's just hard to just get comfortable around the younger girls. I wanted them to make sure that they knew that I was a solid figure. And throughout the volleyball season and also throughout the year, I've been a little bit with them, and it's just been a little bit easier and more talking to them.
Yeah, that could have been a little extra difficult because before you came here, and we can maybe get into detail of this on another episode, but there was a coach who was quite inappropriate, did some quite inappropriate things, and he ended up getting fired.
If you don't mind, I actually would love to touch on that. So before I actually got the middle school job, I was in the same scenario with that middle school coach. And coming into there, like I said, it was a little bit more of a comfort level stress with the younger kids. And so when I heard about the position and things that were going on, I just felt that I could come in and be ready to be that solid figure. And so far, so good, I'd say.
So you do have some firsthand experience with, some not so decent people.
Correct. And then you can always give everybody a chance, but once you cross that line, I have no more time for you, pretty much.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to sports here. I mean, every coach has their philosophy, more strict, more lenient, a mix of both. What's yours?
I would say just being consistent, showing the kids that you can be a little weird, you can be tired, you can have off days, but at the end of the day, we're here to work and you can do things just pushing through. I have tried the more lenient part of it at the beginning of the year with cross country. I will always put the blame on my coaching style first, but I felt like I could have been a little bit more strict and we would have had a different outcome for our state potential.
As somebody who's been with you for a long time, been an athlete of yours for a long time, I've noticed that this is what I noticed, that typically your coaching strategy is you start out pretty lenient, shorter practices, less hard workouts, but then as the season goes along, you slowly make it longer, make it more difficult.
Correct.
Is that accurate?
Yeah. A philosophy I live by just in life and that describes my journey as a teacher is that every 2 years, I want to be in a position where I can look back and say, am I proud of myself? And I have done that so far for the last couple of years here. And that's what I'm doing with track and cross country. Off of firsthand experience, we didn't even have it.
Right.
I didn't even know how to explain cross country to kids. And the second year came and kids started believing. Our middle school ended up winning some titles. And then this year came and I'm just proud of the kids like you and Jay Reyes and Sebastian Bernal who show up every day just to see those time drops every year make my heart full.
Yeah. And we really appreciate, we as the athletes do really appreciate all you've done and the fact that you've built up our athletics program.
We do. I think about you guys all the time. So please.
Well, and this leads into another kind of separate issue. You said something about showing up, but you can't only show up on the court. You got to show up in the classroom.
Yes, sir.
And some people argue that academics should come first. Most people actually do. And sports are just an extracurricular. What would you say to someone who thinks sports don't really matter in school?
Okay, that's a very good question, Colin. Just to go to the first part of half of your question, yeah, grades mean a lot to me. I know for sure it's a definition of a student athlete. Student always comes first. I've heard that since I was younger, and it's a philosophy I still live by. It's also just something that it'll just progress you further on in life. I feel like sports motivated me to do well in school. Some kids need that outlook, that stress reliever, and work is sometimes that thing. I don't think everyone should have to do a sport, but I do believe that if someone has potential or any kind of a spotlight in them, they should give it a chance and see where it goes.
So you think sports are important, but they're not as important as academics.
Yeah, it's not a necessary thing for people to do, but it does way more good than bad.
And going back to that thing you said about people not necessarily needing to do a sport, but you recommending they be physically active. For students who maybe don't consider themselves athletes or maybe don't want to get into like sports because they're just not a big fan of it, do you think there's still value in getting involved in stuff like that?
100%, man. I am just somebody that's all about hobbies. My fiance, who I actually just proposed to recently, is a super nerd about Legos. And every gift, Christmas gift, birthday gift, she wants a new back of Legos. And that to me is the coolest thing ever, just because I don't have the patience for things like that. I'm a big anime guy myself. I just feel like everyone in the world should find something they truly love to like to do and just go ahead and go with it.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. Congratulations on the proposal.
Yeah, obviously you've been with me since this first couple years, and she was just a girlfriend, and it's just been a pleasure to see you guys get older and finally look at myself as getting older with my engagements.
Right. Let's move on to the next section here. Let's talk about what's happening in the world of sports right now. Are there any big stories in high school, college, or pro sports that have caught your attention?
I would say this track year has just been outstanding. Just examples of Quincy Wilson in high school running the youngest and fastest time for a 400-meter runner. And I feel like sports is just evolving every year. Even when I was in high school, now I'm at the age where I'm saying that kind of stuff back in my day. But you guys are getting better. I just feel like watching LeBron James at 40 right now. It's just giving me all the inspiration in the world. Just keep working out, keep doing my thing, and just watching him on a weekly basis is just showing me that anything's possible.
How important do you think it is for a coach to show themselves to be supportive? Like, we understand that tough love is valuable, but some coaches take the toughness too far and don't show enough love. How important do you think that is to balance that?
It is very quick off the top story just with it. In my first year of college, like I said, had a terrible coach. I could write a book about him. And
I feel the same way. I feel the same way about my current my current
coach. That's neat.
No, my former varsity basketball.
Oh yes, that's also another thing I'm looking forward to. But just a quick story or example of this guy. Pretty much, this guy would cuss us out, not make us feel like we were wanted on the day of our GCAC championship because we got second place in the race. He expected to get first. He told us to take our uniforms off in the parking lot and all kind of things like that. And I used to be a kid that was like the fresh sense of barrel air, very straightforward, never got in trouble. But once I got to the point where I called my parents, I think if I could fight my coach, it's when I decided that being a solidified person can really help a child.
Well, I don't think I've ever gone that far. Yeah. You know better than anybody. You were on that basketball team with me this year. You understand the frustrations I had.
Gosh, for sure.
But I absolutely do value toughness and discipline, especially in sports. That's one of the most important things, especially up here mentally.
Of course.
But you got to find a balance. You got to find a balance to where when you do show that tough love, they actually care about you
Right.
and they're just pushing you and they're just trying to like piss you off.
I totally agree. I also live by the thing where if a coach isn't picking on you, he didn't do something. I always get on to you about twice a week about just the smallest thing, but only because I know you can be better each day.
And do you think it's important for the athletes of a coach to have that kind of, not just, it's important for them to have a,
Like a buddy relationship.
well, it's important for them to have that like Myers adult relationship,
Right.
but at the same time, do you think it's important to have kind of that kind of buddy relationship, like you're saying, like friendship?
For sure, man. Like you said, it's always that balance. You have to know when it's time to do it, time to have that moment. I always love to joke around with my boys. I love to make sure that they're having a great time at all the times. But when it gets down to the nitty, you have to remember that at the end of the day, you are the adult, you are the solid figure, and these kids are looking up to you to make the right decision.
Right. Yeah. You sure definitely do like to joke with your students.
Yeah, of course.
Circling back around to this academic issue, it's always going to be an issue for a lot of athletes. Like there's that stereotype where a lot of athletes are typically like those kids that are like not very high grade. And as a coach, it is somewhat your job to also make sure your athletes stay focused on academics.
Right.
How do you help them stay focused? How do you help them find a balance between focusing on sports and focusing on academics?
My main thing is just showing them the value of grades. I've just been in so many positions where my parents are crazy about me just getting a C or even a low B, and I felt like I wasn't a smart student. I believe grades are just the main thing. Obviously, in basketball, we have potential to even make the playoffs, and with bad grades and ended up falling off a couple of scholars and made our team a bit weaker than it should have been. Grades are so important that whenever I was at the middle school, to kill that motive that kids don't care about grades, put a consequence on those kids that every F or every 10 absences or tardies you had sensations for it. So it would become a trend that these kids didn't want to be embarrassed in front of their friends having to run patience because of their grades.
Or they, didn't want to work out that much extra.
I reward the good kids for their great grades. I really love artists and all kinds of things like that, but messing around the classroom and bad grades, something that can be changed.
Great example of you rewarding kids is taking us to Canes and stuff.
Exactly. We go to Canes every time we do something great.
So you touched on how academics could be a weakness to a team. The other thing that could be a big weakness to the team is, and we felt this season, injuries. Injuries have probably derailed us more than the academic issues this season. What do you think schools, or actually, what do you think you could do as a coach to maybe help prevent these things more? Because we had a couple of people who were originally going to be started this season. They had severe leg injuries.
Right.
They couldn't play the whole season.
Great question. It's a double-edged sword when it comes to injuries. I'm big on having a weight room for our high school. If there's anything that I personally could do is get more active and looking for weights and ways for us to do more resistance training. We aren't a 6A, but I do what I can with the workouts. And the kids that do it right, like yourself, prone to be more able to get over those injuries and not actually be injured for the year. I also believe in the right diet. I feel like a lot of high schoolers are eating the wrong food. When you're jumping on your legs and not replenishing water, fruits, and veggies, that's the main cause of it.
Yeah, that's a big issue, the nutrition, especially with veggies.
Yes, sir. At least with the lunch we have here, the fruits and veggies will always be fresh.
Yeah. Fresh.
All right, well, let's do it.
What other thing So I think another big thing that could maybe offset that diet you were talking about, or some of those things. I think a big thing that could offset it is more stretching.
Definitely.
Our basketball, it was mainly for basketball. Basketball players just we barely stretched because it was frustrating to be on that team, having to having to see that we stretch for 5 minutes because we're so busy doing other things. We're so busy working on all our basketball stuff. I understand how important that is, but the stretching is underrated. And if you would ask my opinion, I think we should in any sport, you should do at least like
Hey, man.
10 to 20 minutes of
If I
stretching.
could tell you something funny. So the warm-up we do for climbing every single day, all the workouts I've been doing for the last 3 years. And a lot of people don't understand the step-ups, the dip, stretching we do, the grandma stretches are all things that are led and I've learned in PT. And truthfully, if all the kids did the workouts and did the stretching I do, their injuries would be a little bit less minor. And it felt for my 8th period to come by, I only have to blow my whistle to do the warm-up because they know it and they understand that if they do the warm-up correctly, they'll be stressed out for the day and won't come to me about band-aids or injuries.
I had a feeling that kind of like grandma stretches or the yoga, you definitely know from PT, but I did not know that like the step ups and stuff. That was also PT.
If I could tell you something, my junior year of high school, stupidly, I broke my foot and dislocated my knee on the same day. And after doing that PT, I felt like every kid should do that, and that's where we are.
Yeah, and give an example of somebody who does good stretching. Like, I don't want to brag on myself, but I try to do good stretching. And
if I have to say, you have to be the most but stretchable kid that I've ever had. You will stretch every day, but you were still the stiffest guy the day of the race. And I think so hilarious.
Yeah. The reason I am usually that is because you know me, I try to excel. Yeah. I try to excel at academics and sports. So that means I'm pushing my body and and most people will know this about me. My stress level is like high, like pretty high a lot of the time, which that can cause me to lash out.
No, that's totally fine. Everybody stress.
But yeah, my stretching, I think it actually has prevented like worse injuries. Like the worst injury I think I've had was actually my sprained ankle, which is, I would still say not fully recovered, but it's mostly recovered, especially since, I got a story to tell you. Literally, I was just sitting in my bed talking to my friends and I had my ankle up a little bit and I just went like, I pressed down on my foot and it just pop. It made a loud pop that I've never. And then what was weird is it had kind of like a weird discomfort to it. That's been gone ever since. And it's been like a couple.
Well, you couldn't because I had one of those and it was a Charlie horse and it did not feel pleasant.
Whoa, no. All right, I think we should start wrapping it up now. But so to wrap up, let's do some quick rapid fire questions.
I love it. Let's do it.
First off, favorite sports team from the NFL, NBA, college, whatever.
Okay, I would say, of course, Houston, Texans, and anything wrong.
What about college? You watch college Walmart?
I'm a big Houston Cougars guy, coming from Houston, and obviously I love Texas State. That's I'm an alumni there. But I will always go for UT, even though I didn't get in.
If you could coach any sport besides the ones you do now, what would it be?
I do coach quite a few. I coach cross country, track, basketball, and soccer. If there was something I would coach right now, it's flag football. I feel like I excel at that, and it's actually a fun time.
Let's actually talk about flag football for a second, because I've heard reports from you and other administration here that we are going to have a flag football season next season.
Sure.
And just give me an update on that. What are we looking at?
I will say, it is part of HCAL, which is our district name. So it is an official sport listed on their website. Wayside just needs to pretty much line up for it. I just talked to our AD, which is Clint Wise. He let us know that the more sports, the better, as long as we can handle the kids and the output that comes with it. And I just let them know that giving kids an opportunity to play more sports is everything I ever wanted.
Yeah, I'm personally really excited.
And I know we got some good receivers and quarterbacks out there, especially coming with you, my partner.
Yeah, but has there been have we actually signed up for it, or?
It's in the works. It's always above my pay grade, but I will let you guys know as soon as I get the update.
Okay, keep hassling them because I've learned this. If you do not hassle the admin, they will not do it.
That's right. Hey, I'm right there with you, man. Don't worry.
All right, let's get back to these questions. Best coaching advice you've ever received, and who was it from?
Best coaching advice that I've ever received. That's such a great question. I don't know that. You'll never, okay. You'll always think of yourself more little than you think others think of you. You're your biggest criticizer, and no matter how bad or good you do, you'll always think you did worse.
And
I learned that from my high school basketball sophomore team coach. And he was actually my science teacher too. Mr. Thompson, shout out to you, buddy. But he taught me a lot just to have more confidence in myself. As you can see me every day, I think I'm the best at everything. And I just want to just make sure every kid can bleed up to you.
Nice. All right, last question. A lot of kids here know you pretty well, but what's one thing you want kids at this school to know that most of them don't?
Most of them don't.
Like about you as a coach, essentially.
Okay. That is a very good question. Oh, although you know me, I'm very loud, spontaneous, and very just over the top most of the time, which is sometimes great. This weekend, my mother and father are going to be coming and joining us at our regional track meet. I really look up to my parents. They're my role models, and it'll be an honor to show them what kind of coach I am, just because they haven't seen in a while. But I just want to let people know that I love my family a lot. My mom is my biggest fan in everything I've done. Even when I tried for Texas State, when I went to my GCSE championship, I just want to tell people that enjoy your mom, man. I'm really appreciative that I'm 27 and able to call my mom any time of day.
That's great to hear. Coach A, thanks so much for coming on the Raven Report. It's been great talking to you.
Of course, call me anytime, buddy, and I loved it every minute.
That's a wrap up for this episode. If you enjoyed the conversation, make sure to follow the Raven Report wherever you listen to podcasts and leave us a comment on Spotify with any questions for future episodes. Once again, I'm Colin Kerouac, and thanks for tuning in. Until next time, stay curious, Ravens.
Sure. That was awesome.